Up on the show this morning, 8:08. Rail fares are going up across Britain from today. But the average 2.8% rise is the smallest for 4 years. And we did know about it, in fairness, in advance, well in advance. Last month, the government announced that on average, regulated fares wouldn't increase by more than the rate of inflation. But even so, rail campaigners say that fares are still rising 3 times faster than wages. We had a chat with some commuters at Coventry railway station this morning. There was mixed reaction to the increases.
It happens every year, so I'm not happy about it, obviously, but it's just... I know come January my train fare will come up.
I think it's reasonable. Prices go up, costs go up. So, I think inflation is a good rise.
Do you think you get a good standard of service for the money you pay as well?
I do, yes, very good. I work in Birmingham, and the bus and the rail pass at the moment costs me £97, so it's going to be £100 for 4 weeks, and you certainly can't do it in a car.
Price rises are all very good, and obviously it's got to go up with inflation and all this, and I quite agree with it. But the service is disgusting.
See, I thought that was a 4 at the end, but it kind of became an against, didn't it, in a way? Some of the people talking to us at the railway station in Coventry this morning, but how are rail ticket prices in the UK comparing with those in the rest of Europe? Are we getting a rough deal? Let's talk to Coventry and Warwickshire MEP Nikki Sinclaire, who joins us on the show. Nikki, morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
And to you as well. Thanks for being with us this morning. This question about Europe fascinates me because, as you probably heard, I've been on trains across Europe and always find them to be on time, clean, and reasonably good value for money. Are they getting a better deal than us, do you think?
Yes, they are. And obviously, through my job, I travel on European railways quite a bit. And by and large, the commuter railways are far more superior than ours. And there's a reason for that, is that their government subsidise their transport. And then in any dynamic economy, you need to be able to move people about in a very cost-effective way. And these governments across Europe have decided to invest in their infrastructure over many years. You mentioned Germany, Berlin. I've had a similar experience in Berlin. Obviously, they have a very strong dynamic economy. But it isn't just Germany. It's Italy and Spain. Now, these countries are going through economic dire, situations at the moment. And here's the reality, and it's not too far-fetched. We, the United Kingdom, are indirectly subsidising those governments to be able to subsidise their public transport when we, in this country, are actually asking the commuters to pay more for railways.
Aren't we? We do subsidise it, though, don't we? In fact, we had a rail expert on, a rail analyst a bit earlier on, who was saying that he thought that Europe was pretty well the same. But the part of our problem is that we do subsidise it over here. So
we do, but not to every government from 2004, from Gordon Brown as Chancellor to date, have decided that the public need to pay more and more and more. Currently, about 75% they want the fare payers to pay.
But haven't they got it right, Nikki? Because what they're saying is, and this is not as a regular rail user, perhaps I'm being a bit selfish, but what they're actually saying is, we want the people who use it to pay for it. We don't want everybody to pay for it. And some would argue that's a fairer system. If you don't use the trains, why should you pay for it?
Well, it's costly. We're talking about rail today, but it's cutting across all forms of transport, isn't it? Bus fares have gone up today. The cars, I'm a huge car user. We know the cost. I mean, it seems to be able to move anywhere. It costs money.
Yeah.
Now, we need people to get in jobs. We need people to be able to be mobile. We want people to come invest in our region and be able to put in a factory in Leamington so people can travel from Nuneaton to Leamington easily. That's what happens across Europe. And your listeners will know there's no one more Eurosceptic than I. But we need to learn the lessons from Europe, and we're not. We're actually going in reverse, and the service on our trains is absolutely terrible.
You're right, and that's the big issue coming from a lot of people this morning. Stay there, because I want to bring in Peter Hughes, who's the Secretary of the West Midlands branch of the organisation Rail Future, who campaigns for better train services. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Shane.
Where are you on all of this, then?
I agree with virtually every word that Nikki said.
Okay.
Except that I don't think our train services are as bad as people make out. I was glad you found plenty of people in Coventry to speak up for them. Depends exactly where they're travelling to and how many trains per hour they get. But the train services are getting better. And, of course, it's government policy, as Nikki says, for the balance between the taxpayer and the fare payer.
I do, and I asked the question this morning, if it's better now than it's ever been, just how bad was it before? It must have been dreadful, because my experience...
It was worse, it's getting better, but people's expectations increase all the time with the information they get and the rolling stock they get. There's new trains coming on stream all the time. There's new stations opening. Bromsgrove and Kenilworth on your patch are on track to open in the next year or two. Doubling of lines, Kenilworth to Leamington, and all sorts of things.
I was talking to a rail analyst about an hour ago and said, look, should we just renationalise this and be done with it?
No.
And then we know where we are. Well, he actually, Peter, shouted yes. So why do you say no?
I say no because I mean, a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of my colleagues in Rail Future disagree with me. But I just believe in the principle of franchising. We could improve it immensely, but it does delegate the risk, and it should give incentives. It does in some cases, it doesn't in others. It's a never-ending argument, that one, but I'm on the side of privatisation.
Well, at least you'd know where your money was going, wouldn't you? Hopefully you'd have a degree of greater transparency. Nikki, what do you say? What would you shout if we said, let's renationalise it, yes or no?
I don't think we necessarily need to do that, but what we need to do is stop this grand-nosed project like HS2, where it's 30, 40, 50, 60 billion pounds. I think that money should be spent on local railways, improving the stock of local railways. I think the project of, you just need to, and I invite the BBC to do this, go down to Kent and look at HS1 and the impact HS1 has made on the local services of Kent. Kent has gone into reverse, and the same thing will happen here in the West Midlands. It's 30, 40 billion pounds, that's going to be absolutely wasted. If we spend that money here in the West Midlands, increasing our infrastructure, it will make us far more competitive, and it will bring fares down and increase services.
Peter, use the money from HS2.
No, I can't agree with that one. HS2's got to be going. It's got to be up and running in our lifetimes. Hopefully, it's about capacity, not speed. This business of selling.
Well, no, it is about speed. It's high speed too. That's exactly.
But the real benefit is capacity. Yes,
right.
Okay, it's high speed to go long distance.
But that's why it's so expensive. So if it's about capacity, Nikki's right then, isn't she?
The capacity will be released in the classic lines we've got now for more services that we need on the classic lines. And if Nikki's party is successful in getting us out of Europe, we can spend all that money we waste every day to Brussels and Strasbourg on high speed too.
Some agreement, some not there. Interesting to talk to the both of you. Thank you. Peter Hughes, Secretary of the West Midlands branch of organisation Rail Future, and before that you heard West Midlands MEP Nikki Sinclaire joining us on the Breakfast Show this morning.